In this next video, we will be investigating special right triangle called 30, 60, 90 triangles. First, let's review some of the properties. So this is and where the properties come from. Now let's look at an equilateral triangle to create another special triangle. So let's say that each of the sides are x, and actually let's make them 2x, and it makes it a little bit easier, and we'll show that in a second. So each of the side lengths are 2x. Now, if we think about what do we know about the measures of each angle in a equilateral triangle, all the angles are 60 degrees, which we can label on the diagram. Now we're going to draw the perpendicular bisector from one of the angles to create two right triangles. Now, if we look at this, when we split with that perpendicular bisector, we said before that we know that since this is a perpendicular bisector, this is a right angle and this is 60, and this angle is split in half, so it's 30 and 30. Now, if we separate this right triangle, this is our 30, 60, 90 triangle. Now, because in this original triangle, when we had this split, this was 30 and this was 60, we said that all the sides were 2x. Now, if this whole side is 2x and this is the perpendicular bisector, that means this side is x and that side is x. So the side that's across from the 30-degree angle is considered x. And if we use Pythagorean theorem to find this last side, we have x squared plus, we're going to call this b squared, or we'll call it a. So x squared plus a squared equals 2x squared. When we do this, x squared stays the same plus a squared, and we square 2x squared becomes 4x squared. Now if I want to solve for a, you're going to get that we subtract x squared from both sides, so a squared equals 3x squared, and to solve for a, we're going to have to square root both sides of the equation. So this gives us a equals the square root of 3 times the square root of x squared, and the square root of x squared is x. This becomes square root of 3 times x, or x root 3. So the final side length that we have here is x root 3. And this is our general properties for 30, 60, 90 triangles like we had for 45, 45, 90. Now, if we generalize the properties for 30, 60, 90 triangles like we did for 45, 45, 90, this is the general relationships. If we think about what the angles are across from in terms of side lengths, the 30-degree angle is across from the side length x. And this is what we call the smallest side, or the smallest leg. The next one, the 60-degree angle, is across from the side x root 3. So 60 degrees is across from x root 3. And then the last one, the right angle, is across from the side 2x. And that's our hypotenuse, or our longest side. So 90 degrees is across from 2x. Now we can apply these properties like we did with 45, 45, 90 triangles to solve. For this one, this missing angle is 30, and we know that across from the 30-degree angle is x, because again our general relationships are across from 30 degrees is x, across from 60 is x root 3, and across from 90 is 2x. So if we label this across from 30 as x, this means that x equals 5. Now the other two side lengths across from the 60-degree angle is x root 3, meaning that this side length is 5 root 3. And across from the right angle is 2x, so this side length would be 2 times 5, which equals 10. For our next relationship, or the next example, this missing angle is 60, and across from the 60-degree angle is the relationship of x root 3. So if we write an equation using this, we can say x root 3 equals 3 root 3. Now if we want to solve for x, since this is implying that it's x times the square root of 3, I would divide both sides by the square root of 3. So the square root of 3 cancels, so we get x equals 3. And now we can use this to find all of our other side lengths. So x equals 3. And now again, if we get rid of the variables that we have to make it a little less confusing, across from the 30-degree angle is x, so this side length is 3, and across from the 90-degree angle is 2x. So it's 2 times 3, which gives you 6. For the last example, the missing angle is 30. This side length of 7 is across from the right angle, which is 2x. So if I write an equation, we can say 2x equals 7. So you divide both sides by 2, get x equals 7 over 2. Now if we use this to find the other side lengths, across from 30-degree angle is always just x, so this side length is 7 over 2, and across from the 60-degree angle is x root 3, so that makes this 7 root 3 over 2. In the next example, we're going to follow the same pattern. Now, the side length we are given is across from the 60-degree angle, so it's equal to x root 3. So if I write an equation, I have x root 3 equals 18. Now to solve, since it's multiplied by root 3, I divide both sides by radical 3. So it's x equals 18 divided by radical 3. And we have to rationalize to get rid of the radical from the denominator. So I multiply the numerator and denominator by radical 3. So I'll get 18 radical 3 over 3. And then I can further simplify the 18 over 3 to give us 6 radical 3. Now if I solve for the other sides, across from the 30-degree angle is usually just x. So that means that this side is 6 root 3. And across from the 90-degree angle is 2x. So that means that this is 2 times 6 root 3. And we multiply that, 2 times 6 multiplies together to give us 12 radical 3. In our next example, the side that is given is across from the right angle, so it's 2x. So I can write my equation of 2x equals 3 radical 6. If I want to solve for x, you would divide both sides by 2. And in this case, the 3 should be divided by 2. However, that does not simplify. So x is really the value of 3 radical 6 over 2. And it stays exactly like that. For the other sides, the angle that's not given is a 30-degree angle. And across the 30-degree angle is always just x. So that means that this side length is 3 radical 6 over 2. Our last side is x root 3 because it's across some 60-degree angle. So it becomes 3 radical 6 over 2 times the square root of 3, which is the square root of 3 over 1. So if I multiply the numerator together, that gives us 3 radical 18 over 2. If I simplify the radical, this becomes 3 radical 9, radical 2 over 2. The square root of 9 is 3, so it's 3 times 3, root 2 over 2. So it gives us 9 root 2 over 2. So our side length is 9 root 2 over 2.